And now, another BFF moment.
Best friends forever?
It's best foot forward for pedestrian safety. Did you know you must stop for a pedestrian in a crosswalk and stay stopped until they're in the opposite half of the road or on a raised median? It's the law. Stop for peds, or it could cost you $164 and 3 points on your license. It could cost them their life. Join the movement. Put your best foot forward for pedestrian safety. I yield for peds. Do you?
Visibility while driving at night can be challenging for drivers, and their failure to see pedestrians is often fatal. In Florida, 75% of pedestrian fatalities occur at night. Many drivers say they never saw the pedestrian. What will it take to see them? Can you see him now? Drivers, look for pedestrians, especially at night. Pedestrians, make sure you are visible. Alert tonight, alive tomorrow. Because safety doesn't happen by accident.
Our shared dream is to be a place that celebrates rich history, where learning, laughter, and entertainment come together. A destination where memories and new friends are made. A destination where local flavor and eclectic cuisine meet, and where culture and community connect. Ideas are created and reimagined. We are rising, bigger and bolder. We invite you to discover your urban in downtown Orlando.
Your wet wipe says flushable? Guess what else is flushable? Money. And that's exactly what you're flushing when you put one of these down the drain. These get into your sanitary sewer systems and help cause blockages. And that costs you money. So I tell you what you can do. Trash it, don't splash it.
I'm very proud because before I started this job right here, I was homeless. I used to sleep under the bridge, and most of the streets that I'm cleaning up now, that's the streets that I used to sleep on. I'm thankful that they gave me opportunity. You know, it's changed my life tremendously. Like I said, I was homeless. You know, now I'm in the process of looking for a house to buy. Through this program, you know, I came over my addiction.
Good afternoon and welcome to the April 8th, 2019 meeting of the Orlando City Council. As always, we're going to begin with the invocation today offered by Imam Tariq Rashid, who is the president and senior imam of the Islamic Center of Orlando, where he served since 1993. He graduated from the University of Lucknow in India and the renowned Ulema of Faranga Mahal. Pretty good? I've been practicing all morning long, which is a center of Islamic learning and culture. Imam Rashid received a master's in educational leadership from UCF. He's the founder of the Islamic Studies Chair at UCF, is the chaplain for Dr. Phillips Hospital, and teaches weekly Arabic classes for adults, and is the author of several books. After the invocation, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to have the pledge, but I'm going to start a new tradition today that I borrowed from OUC, and honor city employees who have served in the U.S. military by recognizing them at city council meetings and asking them to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. And as it happens, Commissioner Ortiz was supposed to lead the pledge today, and he qualifies as one of our city employees who served in the military. So we're going to ask Commissioner Ortiz to lead the pledge after the invocation. Commissioner Ortiz served 9 years in the United States Marine Corps, both active duty and in the reserve, including spending time in the Persian Gulf War. I also want to acknowledge both Commissioner Gray and Commissioner Hill also served in the military, and we will recognize them at one of our future meetings and ask them to do the same. If you'd all stand, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen. Dear wise and loving God, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for loving us. In the scriptures you have said, the citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, we pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. I'm asking that you may graciously grant them wisdom to govern, a sense of the welfare, a keen thirst for justice, confidence in what is good for all of us, and personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. I pray for the agenda set before them today. It is in your and blessed name that we all pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and would you call the roll and make a determination of a quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray? Here. Commissioner Ortiz? Here. Commissioner Stewart? Here. Commissioner Sheehan? Here. Commissioner Hill? Here. Commissioner Ings?
Here.
Mayor Dyer?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's take up the minutes from the agenda review and city council meetings of March the 25th. Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, right into awards, presentations, and recognitions. We had a very nice ceremony and dinner event honoring the 15 years since we have opened the Hispanic Office of Local Assistance, better known as OLA. And I'm going to call on Georgina, there she is in the second row, and Anna to tell us about it.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. In 2004, Mayor Dyer and part of his team came up with the idea of creating what we know today as the Hispanic Office for Local Assistance. It takes collaboration and community support to achieve greatness, and OLA is a great example of that. The success of this program is due to the support of Mayor Dyer, our commissioners, our city employees, social services organizations, businesses, and our community. Together, we'll continue to assist our citizens and make our community a better place.
At the City of Orlando OLA office, we're very excited and happy to celebrate during this month of April 15 years of great work. Last week we had 2 great events, an awards presentation and an open house. Both events were well attended and we were happy to host all of our guests and visitors. I would like to once again give thanks to Mayor Dyer, commissioners, former OLA employees, and all of our partners for their support and helping us serve the community throughout these years. OLA would not be possible with any of you. I would like to also recognize my colleague, Mrs. Sandra Camacho, who is a key person at OLA. She's our staff assistant and she's the person that makes sure everything is running well at OLA. And also we have Alina Rivera, who was not able to join us this afternoon.
Mayor, could you please read the proclamation?
Yes, ma'am. Proclamation, City of Orlando. Whereas the City of Orlando Hispanic Office of Local Assistance started as a pilot program in 2004 in partnership with a local community organization, and whereas the City of Orlando officially opened OLA at the Englewood Neighborhood Center and was later moved to its current location on Primrose Drive, and whereas the mission of OLA is to connect residents, families, businesses, newcomers to the City of Orlando with its city, government agencies, community-based organizations, and professional entities with information and resources. And whereas with the collaboration of approximately 100 community organizations, including some in-house, OLA has expanded its services to meet the needs of the city's growing Hispanic population. And whereas more than 175,000 citizens have been served through visits and calls and emails. Following Hurricane Maria, OLA welcomed and assisted more than 6,000 people in the first 6 months after the storm. And whereas OLA has assisted and will continue to assist residents and thousands of newcomers from around the world who come to Orlando. Now, therefore, we, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, Jim Gray, District 1, Tony Ortiz, District 2, Robert Stewart, District 3, Patty Sheehan, District 4, Regina Hill, District 5, Samuel Ings, District 6, hereby do proclaim April 2019 as Hispanic Office of Local Assistance Month in the City of Orlando.
Can we have a picture, Mayor?
Yep. Why
My
don't we all
multiple
come?
team?
Or actually, does that work? You guys standing right here? Yeah. Why don't you do that?
Mayor, Commissioner Wyman.
Just before we take the picture, Commissioner Ortiz reminded me we had a very nice ceremony where we also recognized that Commissioner Wyman was one of the leading forces behind the creation 15 years ago, God rest her soul, but Commissioner Ortiz has taken over that mantle, and OLA continues to prosper and is probably, to my knowledge, the only program like it anywhere in the country. So thank you on that, Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I haven't been down at the podium to use this new microphone. It's kind of cool to be able to do that. Okay, Marcia, you are up for Volunteer and National Service Appreciation Month.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer and City Commissioners. Good afternoon. It's good to see you all. And thank you for demonstrating your continued appreciation and support for the many contributions that volunteers and national service members make in Metro Orlando by recognizing this National Day. As you know, citizens serve in various capacities to help us shape policy and advise city staff and elected officials. We have more than 24 advisory boards providing advice and recommendations to the many city programs and policies across the city and helping the City Council make important decisions. During this past fiscal year, citizen boards cumulatively contributed more than 2,000 volunteer hours, and the city advisory boards that work with us did many projects such as the Mayor's Martin Luther King Commission, the Commission on Aging, and others. And also, we had many citizen volunteers this past year that participated in city programs by serving city operations, such as the Mayor Dyer's Orlando Cares program, the Keep Orlando Beautiful program, Blue Gardens, Green Up Orlando, the Wetlands, park programs, Manila Museum, and of course, Families, Parks, and Recreation Department, the Orlando Police Department, the Orlando Fire Department, just to mention a few. I could go on because volunteers are involved throughout the city. Today we have many of these dedicated volunteers that work with the city here. We thought we were going to have more, but a lot of people are working and said they couldn't make it. But with all of the volunteers who serve on either a city board or an advisory group or actually volunteer within the city, please stand so we can recognize you. Thank you. Also with us today are some members of the national service providers in Orlando. These are folks who volunteer and actually give a year of service through programs like foster grandparents and programs that support us like AmeriCorps Vistas and the AmeriCorps program. In Florida, more than 12,000 people of all ages and backgrounds actually give of their time and commit a year of service. And we're fortunate to have many of them within the city of Orlando, serving in more than 2,000 locations across our state, many of them within Central Florida. This year, the Corporation for National and Community Service has committed millions of dollars in Florida through our national service and social innovation initiatives. And we have several of those VISTA members and national service members here today. They serve in schools, in food banks, in various shelters and other health clinics across our city, not to mention here in our own city programming and city operations. So with the members of the national service, VISTA's AmeriCorps members that are here, please stand and let us recognize you. Today, we would like to acknowledge also the staff members who work with our volunteers, city staff and also national service staff that are here. And I know that a few of them are able to join us. Would you please stand, staff members from our office as well as other volunteer staff. And after the mayor reads the proclamation, I would ask that all of our city commissioners, would you please stand as you did with the other proclamations, because we want to make sure you're in the picture as well, to take a group photo with all of our volunteer guests and our staff. Mayor, would you please read the proclamation?
Proclamation, City of Orlando. Whereas April has been designated as Volunteer and National Service Appreciation Month to recognize the hard work and dedication and passion of volunteers and national service members throughout our nation. And whereas the City of Orlando is a compassionate city which commemorates Volunteer and National Service Appreciation Month by recognizing its valued volunteers and national service members. And whereas the City of Orlando believes that government alone cannot meet all the community's needs, so we partner with businesses, faith-based organizations, non-for-profits, foundations, and individuals who serve in city government and in our community to make a difference. And whereas the city is a proud member of the National Cities of Service Coalition, implementing Mayor Dyer's Cities of Service Initiative, Orlando Cares, to engage residents and partners in impact volunteering and other volunteer and national service programs. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, hereby do proclaim the month of April 2019 as Volunteer and National Service Appreciation Month in the city of Orlando.
Don't mess with my chair.
Okay, and our third presentation is proclaiming National Crime Victims' Rights Week, and I'm going to call on our Police Chief, Orlando Rolland.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. So this week marks National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Each year, millions of Americans are victims of crime. In 2017, U.S. residents over 12 years experienced 3.1 million violent victimizations. It is also estimated 13.3 million U.S. households experience crime to their property. During this week, the Orlando Police Department encourages all citizens and visitors to commemorate, honor, acknowledge victims of crime, allied professionals, advocates, and selfless volunteers who have courageously worked for increased rights for crime victims. This year's Office of Justice Programs theme for the National Crime Victims' Rights Week is Honoring Our Past, Creating Hope for the Future. Celebrates the progress made by those before us as we look to a future of crime victims' services that is even more inclusive, accessible, and trauma-informed. Before I finish and turn it over to you, Mayor, I want to recognize two special people with the Orlando Police Department, Roland Klee and Lacey Gerard. Please stand up. If it wasn't for these two individuals who basically carry the torch for the Orlando Police Department, we couldn't be doing what we do to try to help our victims. So to them, we owe all the credit.
Proclamation, City of Orlando. Whereas Americans are the victims of more than 20 million crimes each year, and crime can touch the lives of anyone regardless of age, national origin, race, creed, religion, gender, sexual orientation, immigration, or economic status. And whereas intervening early with services that support and empower victims provides a pathway to recovery from crime and abuse. And whereas honoring the rights of victims, including the right to be heard and be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week is an opportune time to commit to ensuring that all victims of crime, even those who are alleging to reach or serve, are offered culturally and linguistically accessible and appropriate services in the aftermath of crime. And whereas local organizations, including the Orlando Police Department, Florida Department of Children and Families, the Victim Service Center of Central Florida, Harbor House of Central Florida, and the Children's Advocacy Center are dedicated to serving victims, building trust, restoring hope for justice and healing. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, do hereby proclaim the week of April 8th through 17th, 2019 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week in the City of Orlando.
Some of our partners are here, but Roland, Lacey, please come up. Our partners, if they're here.
Okay, let's move right into the mayor's update. What a great sports weekend for Orlando. So Orlando City came back from a deficit and won 4-3 in a game delay, a long rain delayed game. The Pride beat the Puerto Rican, I don't know why they call it national team since it's not a separate nation, but defeated the Puerto Rican national team. The Solar Bears won and played their way into the number 2 seed in their playoffs, and we'll have a home playoff game on Wednesday. And then the Orlando Magic won on Sunday night, and they are in the playoffs and could be anywhere from a number 6 to a number 8 seed, and they will likely have home games not this week, but the week after. So other than the AAF going defunct and I guess the Apollos are champions of that league since they had the best record. Other than that, great weekend for sports. We also kicked off Earth Month last week, and we invite everyone to join us in our sustainability efforts. We have an event here at City Hall, Earth Day Work Day, on Friday, April 19th from 11 to 1, and we'll have a lot of sustainability-focused giveaways, activities, and tips that you can take home. I would like to remind or inform everybody that we will have an official ribbon cutting in celebration of the new Colonial Overpass on Tuesday, April 16th at 10 a.m. It's the new pedestrian bridge that opened last month over Colonial Drive. It's aesthetically pleasing. It connects Gertrude's Walk with Katie Way up to the north, so it's going to help us complete our trail system. And oh, by the way, it's already open, so you don't have to wait till next Tuesday to use it. Now I want to just go through just several items on the agenda that are important. Under the mayor's category number 5, there's a resolution for the inclusion of LGBTQ-owned businesses, and as a City for Everyone, we have a long history of establishing partnerships that have supported the development of services and programs, and with this resolution, we'll be the first city in Florida and one of just a handful in the entire country that recognize the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce's certification process, and that'll allow us to track our work with these businesses and provide outreach opportunities and training. And I want to thank the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the Metropolitan Business Association, and the One Orlando Alliance for your support and partnership to get us to this day. I know there's a number of you that are here today. If you could stand and be recognized, I'd appreciate that. And they know how to do a press conference. We did it at 7 Bites in the morning, so what better place to be unless you're on a diet than 7 Bites for that type of press conference. Another good news item is number 5 under Finance and Business, which is our Good Source Staffing Services contract amendment. We have been responding compassionately with our homeless through our Housing First initiative, but we're also been helping them find employment. So we have worked with the Good Source Staffing Services, and in 2 years, we have 218 individuals who have received work assignments with our city departments, including streets and stormwater and fleet and facility, and 73% of these individuals are either homeless, precariously housed, or had barriers to employment. So this agenda item will allow us to add even more employment opportunities. And then under Economic Development number 3, a resolution to exempt certain residential fences from the city's permitting process. I know that sounds kind of boring, but it's actually a pretty big deal because a lot of permitting goes on with residential fences, and we actually had somebody show up at Agenda Review to compliment this item on the consent agenda, so we don't have that happen very often. But we're wanting to make it easier to do business, and if you're looking to build a fence that is 6 feet or less and constructed with wood, plastic, chain link, aluminum, wrought iron, or plant material, and it complies with the Orlando City Code, then you can do it without a permit. But check orlando.gov to make sure you're doing everything you need to do and doing it right. Two more. Under FP&R, we're again doing a collaboration with CareerSource Central Florida to add 250 jobs to our youth workforce program, ensuring that we can get opportunities for everyone in our community. And then finally, FPR number 2 is a license agreement between the Equal Justice Initiative, Orange County, and the City of Orlando for placement of a historical marker in Heritage Square. I know there are a number of people here for that. On Election Day 1920, nearly 100 years ago, July Perry was killed along with 31 other African Americans simply for trying to exercise their right to vote. And this agreement between Orange County and the city will allow a historical marker to be placed outside the Orange County Regional History Center this June to memorialize July Perry's sacrifice and remind us that we should never take our right to vote for granted. In addition to that, I had the opportunity to travel to Montgomery to see the Civil Rights Museum and actually deliver soil from July Perry's grave that was collected by this group to the museum, and we hope at some point to be able to get the marker, be one of the first communities to get the marker from the memorial there that is very moving. If you've not been to Montgomery and not been to the Civil Rights Museum and then the memorial, I would recommend it to anybody that's in the neighborhood. Would you guys from the Equal Justice Initiative in Valencia please stand and be recognized as well? Okay, and that's all I have for the mayor's update. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, and the consent agenda is a number of items that are acted upon through a single vote of council. We give each of our council members an opportunity to comment on items they deem important from the consent agenda and update you on important things that have happened in their commission districts. We rotate the order that we do that, and today we're starting off with District 2 Commissioner Tony Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see. On Wednesday, April 3rd, we celebrated the Ola office, so congratulations once again. On Friday, April 5th, I, along with Commissioner Hale, attended Feeding Children Everywhere's second annual charity golf challenge and Drive Shack, District 1. It was an honor to be amongst a group of people committed to making a dream of hunger-free world into a reality. To this day, they have impacted 53 countries, distributed over 150 million meals, and mobilized 750,000 volunteers to join them in their pursuit. So I want to thank Ms. Christina Redmond for organizing this incredible event and for inviting us. Dover Shores Elementary PTA hosted a great community event on Friday. It was great to see Dr. Hart, the faculty, students, for the most part, invitees and whatnot, who constantly are settling nicely into their new campus. And I'm very proud to be part of a district who's constantly showing support to our youth through community involvement. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to join the Florida League of Cities for their MUNIMOD competition over the weekend. MUNIMOD is a civic innovation program led by the Florida League of Cities, and their competition involved 5 of Florida State universities. 2 students from each school teamed up to compete and develop a strategy for leveraging technology to modernize municipal government across Florida, and particularly the university that won, which was University of West Florida in Pensacola, came up with this particular gadget to be able to assess vehicles, fleet vehicles, and I guess this pertains to any vehicle, in terms of announcing. It could be through one of your technology gadgets or back at the station, if there's something wrong going on with your vehicle, and it will detect that before even the driver detects this, so it will save money tremendously to the municipalities. This is the kind of inventions and innovations going on. So it was pretty neat to see what's going on, and so I want to congratulate the Florida League of Cities. Mayor, I know that you also have supported this great event, and Mayor John Daly from Tallahassee was there, and their staff. Florida League of Cities staff is amazing. And for those of you that don't know what the Florida League of Cities is a league that encompasses the 412 municipalities of the state. And all this commissioners and mayors are fighting for you on a daily basis in Tallahassee for what is called as home rule. It's your local control. So you will have the opportunity of really getting involved with government. So congratulations. And last but not least, what we call now the fence legislation. I want to congratulate you, Mayor, once again for coming up with this idea. Matt Sauce, Matt Brofman, and Lillian Scott Payne for the initiative, for continuing and looking for and helping develop this mayor's initiative, making it much easier for our constituents to deal with the home installations without having to go through the process of getting a permit. And then I want to make a comment on the D1 MOU and worksite agreement to render more opportunities to our youth in terms of the experience of being employed. So I think that's a great strive. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me start by giving a special congratulations to Joni Holzer-Sherm of College Park. As many of you know Joni and the work that she's done throughout our community and has been involved. But the best part about the latest, she retired and decided she was going to do some research on her family and found a great deal of information about her father, who was a Holocaust survivor. And so because of that, she's now engaged in much of the work at the Holocaust Center. So this past weekend, there was a permanent exhibit for displaced persons over at the Holocaust Memorial Center. Joni was recognized for her work, and she tells about her father's compelling story about leaving Nazi Germany. If you want more information about that, go to the holocaustedu.org. Couple of events coming up. This Saturday is the Blue Jacket Park in Baldwin Park is the Wounded Warfighter Lone Sailor 5K 10K. Each year they get a chance to expand that a little bit. So this year they'll be dedicating the new Navy History Wall over there at the museum. Of course, that's where the Lone Sailor monument is for both the male and female fighters, sailors. So please come out. It's I think it's 7:30 this weekend, and get a chance to remember the legacy of those who served our country, as well as those who served actually on that property more than 3 decades ago. Coming up between now and Easter is the world's #1 Easter egg hunt. We have them all over College Park as well as District 3, so I just mentioned them to you real briefly. The Orlando Firefighters is having theirs. I'm looking for one of the firefighter guys. There he is. Orlando Firefighters is having theirs this weekend over at the Tootin Museum. Right, over in Lock Haven. The Rosemont Community Center is having one this weekend as well, from noon to 3. And then College Park is having one over there, been sponsored by a separate group over there at Albert Park. And then a fourth group is having one at Dartmouth Park. Both those last two are on April 20th. So you get a chance to come out. It's great community building. A reminder that the intersection improvement project along Edgewater Drive will continue with the intersections at Yale and Princeton and Smith and Vassar. The construction is ramping up the next few weeks with the construction of the Vassar intersection. Don't confuse this project with the private work that's being done over there that the Princeton apartment complex is doing. We're working hard to get that completed, and at least working from the city standpoint to have this contractor complete that. So it's been delayed because of landscaping, obviously, as well as utility and ADA issues. So they should convene or could reconvene this week sometime. And then for those in the Corrine Drive area, the Metro Plan open house to look at the final report for the Corrine Drive corridor will be on May 1st at the Audubon K8 in their cafeteria. Let me touch on a couple of agenda items real quickly. Mayor, thank you for mentioning C5. I think it's an important initiative for our community, for the city to continue to put kind of, money where your mouth is. I mean, we really want to make sure that we're engaged in the local community. And this is a great way to engage homeless, and having 218 placed is a real success story. So congratulations on that. We get to expand that a little bit. And then a special recognition on the July Prairie marker. That's something I know that y'all been working on for a long time. And candidly, there are other markers that I'll go out to. But we should take this opportunity to commemorate the fact that people died for the right to vote. And we take that we just take that so easily now. and didn't realize 100 years ago what was going on. So thank you for your effort and your work, and especially thank you for the work that you guys do to impact our community. All right. Thank you very much. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer, and I apologize for not being here this morning, y'all, but I did watch you on TV. That's the great thing about being live. And on the downtown discussion, I did make a couple of notes, and I noticed that it got a little bit heated between Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Gray, but I just want to say you're both right. We can have a vibrant nightlife. There's nothing wrong with having a vibrant nightlife, just because, you know, I'm no longer a member of what I used to call the beer and barf crowd. There's a lot of fun downtown, and I think we need to have a vibrant, fun downtown. There's a lot of cities that, you know, roll their streets up at night. But to Commissioner Gray's point that there's not a lot of restaurants, you know, there's an awful lot of first floor vacancies, and we require retail, and then it never gets built out, and a lot of these first floor units are not being used. They're land banking instead of getting them filled. So I think we need to work towards getting those filled, Commissioner Gray, and that way we'll have vibrant nightlife, and we will have nice restaurants, and then everybody will be happy. So again, it's not us against them, it's everybody enjoying downtown. And I've been in a lot of cities where they roll the streets up at night, and I'd much rather be in our downtown because it is a lot of fun. And we can both be right, and again, the CRA is paid for by the downtown businesses, so it's appropriate for us to make those investments. On the agenda today, item A9 on the resolution for supplier diversity. I'm delighted to see the Metropolitan Business Association here today and the National LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also delighted the fact that I didn't have to talk about this. The mayor talked about it, and that's how far we've come in the 20 years I've been here. They let Patty talk about the gay stuff. Now we're mainstream, which is actually pretty cool. And this does not change WMBE. I know over time it's been a concern that if we recognize LGBTQ businesses, that it will take away from someone else. This actually provides a database, training, programs, and procurement opportunities. And I want to thank Legal Procurement and the Chief Financial Officer's Office for working on this. Again, this is a great thing, and again, there's a reason why we're recognized for diversity and being the great community that we are, and I'm delighted to not have to be the one to always talk about the gay stuff all the time. Thanks, Mayor. On the agenda as well, Good Source Staffing Services. This is a contract with Goodwill to employ the homeless, and 68% were formerly homeless of the people in Good Source. So that's a great track record. I'm delighted to see that on the agenda today. Again, the fences. The only concern that I had about the permitting of fences is that you still will be required to have a certificate of appropriateness in a historic district. And this does not have anything to do with surveying, and we never do surveying anyway. So if you have a problem with your adjacent homeowner, you're responsible to deal with the fact that it goes in the proper place, not the city. I think people are concerned that somehow we're not going to make sure that those are put in the right place. We don't do that. All we do is check for the construction. So again, I think that a little bit of misinformation out there, but I too am grateful that people can just, you know, not have to deal with, and this really ties up a lot of our staff, and that can free them up to deal with more important things than making sure someone's fence isn't going to fall over, which they all do during the hurricanes anyway. And I was wondering why I had so many friends here today, and I'm delighted to see that we're in Heritage Square. We're going to put the July Perry Lynching Memorial Monument up. It used to be that the only person that ever talked about this was Don Price at the cemetery. And I'm glad that we're finally, you know, codifying, talking about our history and not ignoring it. So again, thanks to Don for always talking about our history, but now we're putting it out in front in our Heritage Square, and thank you for all your hard work to bring that here. And on a personal note, a couple of months ago, I talked about one of my neighbors, Fran Abil, who lived to be who was celebrating her 100 years on this earth, and Fran passed away over the weekend. So I ask you to keep her family in your prayers, but the fact that Fran lived to be 100, was volunteering rocking babies at the hospital till she was well into her late 90s. She just had a heck of a life. She was very involved with the Colonial Town Neighborhood Association, and Fran brought a lot of life to her years, and she was only sick for the last couple weeks of her life. But I just wanted to say to John and all the rest of the Beal family, you're in our hearts and prayers, and we'll never, ever forget Fran, because she was quite a firecracker in Colonial Town, and we will miss her. She's a fixture at St. James Cathedral, and just a wonderful lady who will be missed. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move to Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to echo the mayor and congratulate the Orlando Magic with clinching 8th or 6th place in the playoffs. We haven't done that in how many years?
7 years.
7 years, so it's just, it's great. Also, congratulations to HOLA and their 15 years in servicing all communities. That's what I love about the leadership over at HOLA. You can find them on the east side, not just in the Hispanic community, but over on the west side, assisting many of our events. And Anna is just amazing. I just love her as a sister and partner with me on all of the events that I do. I like to also extend my condolences to Mr. Roosevelt Hill, which is a 25-year veteran of our Orlando Fire Department, who we funeralized on Saturday. He retired from station number 7, and I'd like to commend Orlando Fire Department for their presence there with their honor guard and bagpipers. It was really a nice touch, and the family really did appreciate that, as well as our community. I read a proclamation from Mayor Dyer and the complete city council, and thank you all for the support that you all sent to Mr. Hill's, no relation, to his family. Also, I am in support of the resolution today for the LGBTQ community as we track and give them services and support the contracting and procurement. As Commissioner Sheehan said, she had to be the voice of the gay community for so long, and I do feel like it's my duty, let's say, to be the voice of the black stuff. And I spoke with staff. I am in full support of all things as we have moved forward in the LGBT community and equality and inclusion. But I'll be dismissed to state that I am still concerned when it comes to inclusion and fair procurement with disparities among our WMBE. So I've asked staff, mayor, and council to let's complete our disparity study that I think, as we was working in partnership with OCPS, GOA, and many of those other acronyms throughout Central Florida, that we continue to find out those disparities that's among the other minorities in the city of Orlando. The Golden Brick Awards, I attended with council on 4/1. Congratulations to our CRA commissioners. Kind of scared to say that today. On receiving the Golden Brick Award for the homes in our CRA. We've completed 7. We have sold 2 thus far. We had 11 families or single people that wanted to purchase our 3rd one, which is great that we have more folks wanting to purchase in Paramore than we have homes. So a lucky person won the lottery on the 3rd home that is currently under contract, and we're actively in the midst of building 4 more. So congratulations to the team of the CRA by winning that Golden Brick Awards. On 403, myself, the mayor, Commissioner Ings, attended. They're sponsored by Valencia Community College and their Equal Justice Initiative, Trauma to Healing, in which I took 6 of my community center managers to do that full day, 8-hour training session along with myself, because many of the households, I could say each one of us at some point have been affected by ACE, and that is from some point of experiencing, not in your own household, but a family friend or neighbor, when it comes to physical abuse, mental health, abandonment, or some type of substance abuse. And I took my center managers because even though it's affected many, when we start talking about the trauma-informed in our youth and families, especially in our inner city core, I think we need to be more informed on how to identify and heal these families and these youth that may have been impacted by many of the 5 core pillars. On 4/4, I went to a ribbon cutting on Venture X here in the downtown core on 100 Pine. We don't have many corporations that's moving to the downtown core, but I think something we need to recognize that there is many co-sharing spaces that are happening here in the downtown core. Many folks want to get away from the overhead of managing a building, leasing a building, utilities, and all the other things that go into starting up a business and the overhead and the cost. And they're going into these co-working spaces, and it's just not the tech community, it's all type of different companies. And you might find at least 200 employees of different sectors and 10 different businesses in one building. And I've gone to many in the last year and a half of these co-working spaces in downtown. So I'm excited about that. And welcome Venture X, which is a family-owned business from Naples, who has moved their Orlando office and location here. And speaking with the owner, he said that he's been to many different places in the nation, and the one common theme is everybody want to move to downtown Orlando, all these different startup businesses and current businesses. So that is great. Attended the Civil Rights Awards ceremony and dinner where the Honorable Commissioner Mabel Butler, Cran Rowley, Gina Duncan, and Father Pender and Dr. Levon Bracey, along with Mr. Waldell Sims, was honored for being trailblazers when it comes to civil rights. So it was quite rewarding to see the marker for Mr. July Perry being featured today on our agenda and moving forward with that. I was able to bring greetings in behalf of Mayor Dyer and City Council on Thursday evening for the National Forum of Public Black Administrators there at Discovery Cove. Even though I am a native Orlandian, I had never gone to Discovery Cove. And it was a really, really nice evening. Many of our city directors was on there present. They were did a wonderful job creating the volunteer staff there. We had over 700 members through that Black Administration Forum throughout the nation that convened on that site. Congratulations to our past CAO, Byron Brooks, which was the treasurer, and now he is the vice president of that organization. Also, Gennaro Coulter, which spearheaded the volunteer base. They did a phenomenal job in representing the city of Orlando that evening. As stated, we were down Friday morning in Lake Nona, which is just thriving. Congratulations to the job that you're doing down there, Commissioner Gray. It's just amazing what's going on in Lake Nona. I don't get a chance often to go there. It appears to be a city within itself, and a lot of great things are going on. I was there with Commissioner Ortiz and many veterans and NFL players and business owners, where there was raising monies for feeding children everywhere, and I think you heard the numbers from Commissioner Ortiz. On this Saturday at 10 a.m., we will have an hour workshop of soft skills training, special guests, and then at 11, we will have a job outreach hoping to employ at least 350 kids in honor of Lieutenant Deborah Clayton Crime Prevention Job Fair, which she started a year prior to her demise, and which we helped employ about 200-plus kids, and it's through our city trust, Levi's, Gap, and many of the other community partners that will employ these kids. And they're from the ages of 15, I think, into 24. And it will be a part of the mayor's outreach for our new city youth job employment program. So I'm excited about that footprint extending. Also, we will be having on 4/17 next Wednesday evening at 6:30 at the Jackson Center. We will be having a community engagement meeting on how Invictus Housing will be accepting applications for the new affordable housing there in Paramore. Also, Amelia Court, Atlantic Housing will be present. So if you want to know more about the rental prices and how to go about applying for the Paramore Oaks project there in Paramore, please attend this very important meeting on April 17th at 6:30 at the Jackson Community Center. Speaking more of affordable housing, which has been a priority of this council, and Mayor Dyer is putting affordable housing and mixed income housing into the city districts of the West Side and in the downtown core. We will have on April 24th at 6:30 at the Northwest Community Center, the new Village on Mercy with Ability Housing, and they will be speaking about how they will also be accepting applications on their all affordable, I think it's 139 affordable apartments, which is 1 to 3 bedrooms. If I'm not certain, don't quote me on that, but I do know all of those will be affordable, and that is in our Mercy Drive corridor, Village on Mercy. That meeting is April the 24th at 6:30 at our Northwest Community Center. On April the 27th at 9 a.m. with the partnership of Valencia Community College and UCF, we will be having a job fair at the Callahan Community Center. And these are long-term jobs. Of course, they have did a great outreach with making sure that subcontractors were a part of that UCF Valencia construction project, but we have gone a step further in which they will be offering job opportunities on the UCF Valencia campus in downtown Paramore. So that will be August 27th at 9 a.m. That is on a Saturday morning at Callahan Community Center. And this is not just for Paramore residents, this is for city residents at large. We have also partnered in District 5 with the National Entrepreneur Center and the African American Chambers of Council to host a series of 3 entrepreneurship classes beginning on Saturday 27th, and that is also Saturday the 4th and Saturday, May the 11th at 9:30 for those that want to enhance their businesses, that want to start up businesses, that want to know more about how to market and brand their businesses. And that is in the partnership, JP Chase Morgan. They will be bringing those services to the Paramore community. And again, this is for all residents here in the city of Orlando. We will be doing that on the 27th, the 4th, and the 11th, and it is free. So with that being concluded, there is housing, economic development, jobs, and education happening in our downtown Paramore core for all citizens. We'll be having those classes and opportunities there in the Paramore core where it's easy to access coming from the east, north, west, or downtown. Thank you, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Move to Commissioner Ings.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to say that I am very pleased to see the lease agreement between Equal Justice Initiative of Orange County and the City of Orlando for the placement of a historical marker in Heritage Square for July Perry. July Perry was of Ocoee, and he was on trial at the Orange County Courthouse when he was forcibly removed from his trial. He was beaten, dragged out of the building. Police stood by, did nothing. And as he was taken out of the building, he was hung outside of the courthouse. And placing this marker in Orlando is very commendable. And I thank you so very much for coming up with this idea. And it's a great honor to July Perry and also his family, and also to us as a community as it relates with equal justice. As you know, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that's the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote, who was assassinated April 4th, 1968, and that was 51 years ago. So we have a lot to be thankful for as it relates with the sacrifices that were made by individuals that really suffered through some hard times. On Wednesday, March the 27th, we had the Meet the Chief event at the Dr. James R. Smith Center on Bruton Boulevard. We did have a large crowd, and Mayor Dyer was there as well, and Chief Orlando Rolón did an excellent job in responding to questions that were submitted and also taking questions from the floor. We have to hear the hearts of the people, and that's what's so important when we allow the people to speak, and I want to commend you for doing that, Chief Rolón. But it was very well attended, and the people were pleased with meeting their handsome chief. I said it so Dr. Georgina could hear it. Yeah. And then on Thursday, March 28th, I attended the Seniors First Food Pantry expansion press event and ribbon cutting. I brought greetings and presented a proclamation on behalf of the city, and this proclamation was from Mayor Buddy Dyer, and the event was held at the Seniors First building. So they're going into the food pantry and providing food for a family of 4, and so people have an opportunity to come by and pick up some food items. And then Saturday, March the 30th, I attended the Man Up Mentoring Breakfast with Kings and Queens. These are young boys and girls. And this was held at the Grand Bohemian Hotel. Man Up Mentoring is and was organized by a duo, brother and sister team, Samantha Wallace and Christopher Wallace, to improve the quality of life for at-risk youth by providing educational, mentoring, and social services that will equip them to lead inspiring lives. And then on Sunday, March 31st, I attended the 2019 annual Arab Festival there at Lake Eola, and I brought greetings and presented a proclamation on behalf of the city that was from Mayor Dyer as well. And then on Sunday, March the 31st, I attended the Larger Than Life Gala Dinner and brought greetings, and this was held at iDrive NASCAR on Vanguard and Municipal Drive. Alejandro Pizzini is the Chief Executive Officer with the AMP Group, so they hosted this event. The Larger Than Life Gala was organized to help Israeli children who have been diagnosed with cancer, so about 45 children from Israel came over into the United States, and so they were treated to Universal, Disney, SeaWorld, as well as helicopter rides from off of International Drive. So this was a great event. The gala dinner was there to raise money, and I think they raised over $45,000 for their program. And then on Wednesday, April 3rd, thank you, Dr. Georgina Rolón, and also Anna Cruz, for what you have done with the OLA office, the 15th anniversary of the Hispanic Office for Local Assistance. The reception and award ceremony was just really great, and especially the food. It was delicious. Luis, I saw you there. thank you for always being in support as well. And also Reginald McGill, he was there. He had his plate too. But on Thursday, April 4th, I want to congratulate Gwen Wiggins and her team for an awesome job in coordinating and planning the Civil Rights Award ceremony and banquet that was held at Rosen Shingle Creek. Gwen is the Human Relations Manager and the Human Relations Official for the City of Orlando Office of Human Relations. And I'm going to say just a little bit more about that shortly. But on Friday, April 5th, I attended and brought greetings and presented not a proclamation, but presented a thank you to the National Forum of Black Public Administrators during their conference breakfast, and this was held at the Hilton Lake Buena Vista. But I did bring greetings on behalf of the City of Orlando and Mayor Dyer as well. So, day one, the second annual Civil Rights Award ceremony was held at Rosen Shingle Creek on Thursday, April 4th. There were 116 attendees. The city received 5 nominations, and which was really good from our community. And the nominations were for former Commissioner Mabel Butler, Cran Riley, Gina Duncan, Dr. LaVon Bracey, and Father Nelson Pender. So this year, 2 awards were given. They were presented by myself. The Visionary Community Leader Award was presented to Cran Riley, and the Civil Rights Wall of Fame Award was presented to Father Nelson Pender. I also presented the 3 remaining nominees with recognition awards for being the 2019 nominees. And each awardee and nominee were given an opportunity for remarks, and they told their stories. Dr. LaVon Bracey had a real serious story that she has told, reference integrating Gainesville High School, an all-white high school. And she said her brother and she were in the 12th grade, and they were both at the black high school in Gainesville. And they wanted to go over, their father wanted them to go over and integrate the Gainesville High School, the white high school. But he said, no, I'm not going. I've got 3 girlfriends, and I'm going to enjoy graduating from the black high school. But I was thankful that Dr. LaVon Bracey did do that. She went. Yes, she was beaten, she was spit on, and all of this, but she endured and she graduated. So that's why her story was so important, as well as Gina Duncan. Thank you so much, Gina, for all that you have done and gone through as well. The mayor presented awards of recognition to the 4 original members of the Human Relations Board who served at the beginning of Mr. Albert Nelson's tenure as the first Human Relations Director and Human Relations Official, and this was in 1972 for Mr. Nelson, who's now deceased. The 4 members who were honored were former Commissioner Mabel Butler, Wardell Sims, Dick Batchelor, and Robert Bob Billingsley, who is now deceased. His wife, Deidre Dee Billingsley, was on hand to accept his recognition award. And former City Commissioner Ernest Page was scheduled to be there to receive this award, but he was out of town. The guest speakers for the event was Leon Russell, the NAACP chair of the board, and Stella Adams, the former chief of civil rights for National Community Reinvestment Coalition in Washington, D.C. Stella is a longtime civil rights advocate and fair housing expert. And then on the next day, the federal government, HUD, designates April as National Fair Housing Month, so in recognition of the passage of the Fair Housing Act, which was passed a few days after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. The city also proclaimed April as Fair Housing Month in the city of Orlando. Thank you, Mayor Dyer, for that proclamation. And the purpose of the National Fair Housing Month is to foster and advance fair housing in communities, regardless of a person's race, color, religion, sex, age, nationality, disability, and familial status. Fair Housing Training Day was held April 5th at Rosen Shingle Creek. There were about 50 attendees, including fair housing workers, city and county housing staffing, realtors, and attorneys. So this was a great event, and again, thank you, Gwen, for all that you do and have done with that. April 6th, Saturday, I attended and brought greetings at the 17th Annual Taiwan Yes Community Food Tasting Festival that was held at the Florida Chinese Cultural Center off of Principal Row in Orlando. This unique event was to introduce, promote Taiwanese culture and famous Taiwanese cuisine to the greater Orlando communities. There were about 2,000 people in attendance. Snow Chow is the president of the Florida Chinese Business Association. Director General David Chen of the Miami office was there. And then on Sunday, I attended Taiwan Day, which was held at the Orange County Magic Gym on Econolahachie Trail. Taiwan Day was celebrating 40 years of the TRA, which is the Taiwan Relations Act, with the United States of America, and Director General David Chen was on hand for that as well. And Mayor, that's all I have.
That's all?
Commissioner
I'm
Gray.
sorry, that was rude, I'm sorry. I'll be brief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be real brief.
Most of the things going on in District 1 are on my website, but a couple of things that are worthy of mention, I think. On Sunday, March 31st, the American Diabetes Association had their Tour to Cure fundraiser at Lake Nona. Pretty amazing. 2,500 bike riders raised $1.1 million on a Sunday morning, so that's not too bad. So congrats to those folks. Also, to one of our own, on April 1st, Alan Johnson was given the award of Downtowner of the Year by DOP. So I thought it was an April Fool's joke, but it wasn't. It was true. But congrats to Alan. So, and then I want to echo the congrats to Ola. You guys did a great job, and I think it was important not only to recognize current leadership, which is great, but those that got it started. So with that, the words everybody's been waiting to hear, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Okay, if you were just here for the consent agenda, you might choose to leave at this time, and it's a good day to celebrate for a lot of folks.
Yes, good stuff.
Is there anybody that's a student that's here from Valencia? No? No. First time, well, school may be out. Spring break? I don't know. It's the first time in a long time we haven't had a student here. Okay, let's, if there's no objection, we'll recess the City Council meeting, convene the CRA meeting. First two items are minutes. So number one are minutes from February 6th. Is there a motion to accept those?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next are February 18th CRA meetings.
Second.
Minutes to approve. Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number three, downtown holiday light decorations.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. Item 3 is approving the purchase of additional downtown holiday light decorations. This is the third and final installment of snowflake decorations to be placed along light poles, along major arteries throughout the CRA. The recommended lights are the same 42-inch custom snowflakes that we purchased over the last 2 years and that you've seen, and they are solely manufactured by Blackshear Illumination. Staff is recommending purchasing an additional 235 units for a total price including shipping of approximately $185,155. If there are no questions about that, staff is requesting that the CRA authorize the city's chief procurement officer to issue a purchase order to Blackshear Illumination USA Incorporated in the amount of approximately $185,155, subject to the review and approval of the city attorney's office.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 4.
Item number 4 is authorizing the purchase of Creative Village Streetscape tree grates. Excuse me. The Creative Village Streetscape Design Guidelines recommend that a specific tree grate designed and produced by Iron Age Designs be added to tree wells to expand the pedestrian travel area of the sidewalks while still integrating street trees. Careful consideration was taken to select a tree grate that is not only aesthetically appropriate, but also pedestrian friendly. CRA staff is requesting the procurement of 145 cast iron 5 feet by 5 feet tree grates and 99 grate frames for the remaining tree wells on North Terry Avenue, West Livingston Street, as well as West Amelia and Ronald Blocker Avenue, in preparation for the grand opening of the downtown campus for UCF in Valencia in August of this year. Staff is requesting that the CRA authorize the city's chief procurement officer to enter into a contract with Iron Age Designs for an initial term of 3 years with the first order of approved tree grates for the Creative Village site in the estimated amount of $219,121 with the option to make additional orders at the prices specified therein throughout the term of the contract, subject to the review and approval of the city attorney's office.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Thomas, further business?
There is none. Thank you, Mayor.
And we will adjourn the CRA meeting without objection. We'll reconvene City Council meeting, and that brings us to ordinances, hearings, ordinances, first read, 1925. As you know, Orlando is the world's most visited destination with 72 million visitors each year, and guess what? A lot of them end up on International Drive. Today's item updates our original special plan overlay that was approved in 1994. The overlay aims to encourage a more pedestrian-friendly corridor by requiring a complete streets approach and to eliminate sign clutter and make the corridor more aesthetically pleasing. We have a lot of special overlays in different areas of our city to identify special characteristics and make the districts unique. I want to thank everybody, stakeholders especially, that have worked on crafting this special plan and as they say at the airport, helping to make the Orlando experience. So Madam Clerk, if you would read the title.
Ordinance 2019-25, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to the North International Drive Special Plan, amending Chapter 62, Orlando City Code to update the regulations for the special plan area, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Hill. I'll open this up to public testimony. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this matter? We'll close it. Discussion. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Commissioner, this ordinance requires a public hearing after 5 o'clock unless we vote by a supermajority to hold the second public hearing at our normal City Council meeting time. Staff recommends that we hold our second public hearing at a regularly scheduled City Council meeting beginning at 2 o'clock on April 22nd, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, that brings us to hearings, ordinances, second reading, number 1, 2019-23.
Ordinance 2019-23, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located south of Curry Ford Road, west of Conway Gardens Road, north of Edlin Drive, and east of Crocker Avenue, and comprised of .34 acres of land, more or less, and amending the city's boundary description, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as residential low intensity on the city's official future land use maps, designating the property as the one-family residential district R-1 on the city's official zoning maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, permanent disclaimer, and effective date.
Move to adopt. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify relating to this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, ordinances, first read, number 1.
Ordinance 2019-21, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the Shaw Plan Development Zoning District, providing for additional conditions, providing that ordinance documentary number 0605011002, still in effect, providing for permit disclaimer, correction of scrivener's error, severability, and effective date.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2.
Ordinance 2019-26, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located at the northeast corner of South Kirkland Road and Raleigh Street, comprised of 1.1 acres of land, more or less, from office low intensity to neighborhood activity center, changing the property zoning designation from low intensity office residential to neighborhood activity center, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify relating to this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. And that concludes the official business of the Orlando City Council for today.